But abortion. Bauchi State Police Command has confirmed that 13 individuals will stand trial over the death of an 18-year-old woman following a failed abortion procedure in Misau Local Government Area. According to police investigations, the victim was lured and repeatedly assaulted by multiple suspects, including a 200-level student from A.D. Rufai College for Islamic and Legal Studies, who was later paid 40,000 naira to terminate her pregnancy. The victim's health deteriorated shortly after receiving an injection allegedly administered by the student, and she was pronounced dead at the Federal Medical Center in Azari. Police say the suspects have confessed, naming further accomplices, and confirmed that investigations are ongoing ahead of formal arraignment. This is a very, very, troubling story. Having raped the victim and assaulted her, then she was now forcefully, so to say, injected to terminate the pregnancy, which eventually led to her death. What are your thoughts on this report?
It's terrible, but this particular angle of the report said rape. Another news on the same report didn't actually term it as rape.
Well, when there are multiple people in a cluster, I mean that's some form of abuse.
The report I'm talking about didn't say rape. Rather, it said having the culprit lured the victim to a location and had sex with him severally at different locations. That suggests they were in a relationship. However, staying to this particular news report, if a person has been raped and got pregnant, why still allow? Of course, 18 is still relatively young, but I think at 18 she would have been sensible enough to know not to allow the same people who got her into trouble to lead if she was going to get an abortion at all. I mean, why allow the same people be the one to procure it for her? And these are quacks. Somebody in school of legal Islamic is not in any way medical.
Exactly.
So how much does he know? Which is why I think the law should actually come heavily on them. However, investigation should be thoroughly carried to ensure that only those that are culpable face the music. When you begin to talk about accomplices and so many, so that they don't, for whatever reason, rob in innocent persons. But definitely, acts like this should be punished. And I also think that maybe it's high time we also look at some of the, laws and.
I was going to come to laws.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that instead of going to these people still, if at all she thought about having an abortion, but you know that abortion is illegal.
Absolutely.
In Nigeria.
That's why I was saying that it's high time we started looking at some of this law. Now this is not like to water down the morality in the country or no, but the society we live in today, there have been cases where people got pregnant, and this is not a wholesome talking about unwanted pregnancy, somebody who is promiscuous as it were, saying the pregnancy. No, I'm talking of cases like this where somebody was raped, especially in places like northern Nigeria. There is a lot of insecurity issues. You hear of bandits, militias taking people, and in the process, especially young ladies, sex trafficking, and in the process, some of them got pregnant. For me, if you ask me, I think one of the ways such persons can heal is where they think so to terminate such pregnancy. But if you make it illegal, it becomes difficult for such to happen. So much as I want these people to be apprehended, they have already been apprehended, but investigation to be thoroughly concluded and dealt with according to the law. I think, if we take a look at some of these laws, it may help victims to approach help in a legal confine rather than acting illegally. I mean, a victim of rape who can't take it, goes to get an abortion, will still be seen as having committed a crime. That seems to me to be a double jeopardy. So I think we should honestly look at, especially in the north, where you have a whole lot of religious issues and crises. I think we should holistically look at this thing and know how we can make these laws, maybe make exception, and maybe I may not call for a complete lifting of the ban on it, but call for exception. People who have specific challenges should be allowed to get this service without being termed as having committed any criminal offense.
Thank you so much. Then I want to also gather your thoughts as regards. I know we've talked about parenting briefly, but on the angle I want us to go through is, for this particular report, I know that I think it was around last year where a teenager, 13 years of age, was sexually assaulted by seven or eight teenagers, with the oldest being 19. Right. And she was assaulted the first time and filmed. And they threatened that if she reported, they were going to publicize the video. And she kept mute. And she went ahead to be called the second time. And she was assaulted again by the same number of people. Now, it was after that second assault. She drew herself. She was about 13 or 14 or thereabout. Then she drew herself in and went to NSCDC and reported the matter to them. And they went in turn, investigated and caught the boys, with the clip of the first recording, and the case, came to the limelight. Now, my question to you just now is, when this thing happened to this girl, do you think parents have become a little too strict and unavailable, that children are not able to express themselves, like what they've gone through, to their parents, and now they keep it locked in? Because if she had explained to her parents that, I've been raped by this amount of people, it would have been taken up, and possibly, places like the Mirabel Center and other places that offer pro bono services for rape victims, this part of the situation might have been averted.
No, I think it's even more of parents not being available. And being available here, I'm not just talking about physical availability, but emotional and psychological availability. Because, this issue raises more questions than answers.
Right.
Now, if the case is a case of rape and not having a relationship, like they were in some conjugal relationship, so a pure case of rape, from my understanding of how pregnancy works, pregnancy does not happen immediately, the intercourse happen. I mean, even if it happens, it takes some time before it is noticed. Now, at what point did she realize that she was pregnant? How did those guys who raped her realize that she was pregnant and needed an abortion?
All right.
It suggests to me that there was some form of communication between she and the criminals, as it were. Because, I mean, how did they know? At what point did they know she was pregnant? How did they know? Did they still lure her to go for the abortion? All this time, where was the parents? Was there a mother? Was there a father? How come, between the time of rape and the time of noticing that she's pregnant, which would have probably been over a week, if not maybe a month or so, was there a communication between the girl and her parents? Was there a change in her mood? As somebody maybe who has been humiliated, did they notice a change? I mean, if I have any form of relationship with you, whether it's work relationship or something, I've seen you a day, I saw you yesterday. If I see you today, I should be able to tell whether this person I saw yesterday is the same person I'm seeing today, mood-wise. Notice that there is a change. Much more a parent. Didn't they notice that there is a change in mood for the girl? And of course, when she became pregnant, how come she didn't talk to them?
She went back to assaulters.
I mean, it raises more questions. So it raises the question of availability, like you have rightly said. More than being strict, it's a question of not being available for the child. And it's saddening.